Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanam Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Stadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Narayanam Gurum Vande Sharanyam Bhakta Bandhavam Gauramanovistam Purnam Radha Dasyam Pradayakam Rupanugacharya Paryamburupa Manjari Preshtakam Patita Pavana Bandhavam Yugacharya Narayanam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Twise Namaha Shama Sundara Shikanda Shekara Ismera Hasar Murali Manohara Radhikara Shikamam Kripanidhe Swapriya Charana Kinkarim Kuru Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vrindayi Tulasi Devyai Priyai Keshavascha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavatyai Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Ramo Hare Hare. So first of all I begin offering my most humble obeisances to the dust of the lotus feet of Paramaradatama Shri Guru Pada Padama Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Paribrajacharya Ashtotara Sata Srimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj, and unto my most worshipable Shikshan Sannyasa Guru Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Paribrajacharya Ashtotara Sata Srimad Srila Bhakti Vijnana Bharati Goswami Maharaj, and to all Sri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga, to all Tridandi Sannyasis, Brahmacharis, Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, and to all the assembled devotees here today, my most respectful obeisances. In this very auspicious Anada Ekadashi, we are beginning our study, our reading from the book Svarupa of the Jiva, our original spiritual identity, which is the treasury of wisdom from prominent Gauriya Vaishnava Acharyas. This book has been published by the Charisma section, which is one branch of the GVP, Gauriya Vedanta Publications. We're responsible for publishing the books of my Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj, and it has been coordinated by Srimati Shamarani Dasi and her publication team. This book was printed in March 20th, 2019, during Gaura Purnima. It was released. So here in this book, you can find the great mystery of the spirit soul. Here we are going to present from the words of the Vedas, from the words of all the Vedic literature, from the words of our greatest acharyas, what is the soul and what is soul's inherent constitutional position or identity or function. We can define that in so many different ways, but in a very simple word, what is the soul's hidden personality, and what is its eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord, being it Krishna, being it Ram, Narayan, according to the soul's natural tendency to serve one of these divine personalities. So here we have in this book the words of Srila Jiva Goswami, we have the words of Srila Bhakti Vigyana Bharati Goswami Maharaj, then Srila Bhaktivedanta Vamana Goswami Maharaj, Srila Gaur Govinda Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Bhalava Tirtha Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Pramoda Puri Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakshakshidhara Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Daita Madhava Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Pragyana Keshava Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Vinoda Thakur, and Srila Baladeva Vidyabhusan Prabhu, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Srila Jiva Goswami Pad, Srila Sanatana Goswami Pad, Srila Rupa Goswami Pad, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So from all these different personalities, we are going to understand what is the true nature and true constitutional position of the soul. It's been a great debate since past, I think, 1 century around around this topic. But finally, with this book, we have come to the conclusion, and we're able to understand how our acharyas, they are speaking in the same line. There is no difference between one and another. And although some groups claim that there are differences between the Vaishnavas, our acharyas' words, in this book, we are going to show you that actually there is no difference at all. It may be difference in the way of presenting the idea, but if we carefully analyze, then we can understand that the essence is one and the same. So I'm going to read directly from the book, and in between, if there will be necessity, I'm going to explain a few points, but mostly I'm going to read directly the words of the book. So the book begins with the purpose of this publication. Common inquiries about the spirit soul's identity. The fundamental truths regarding the nature and identity of the soul are beyond material time, space, words, and thoughts. The topic is thus mystifying. Many practitioners of Bhakti Yoga, as well as inquisitive, spiritually minded persons, have deliberated and pondered these truths since time immemorial. In recent times, throughout the Vaishnava world, there have been various inquiries about this subject matter. Here are some examples. Since I am an eternal spirit soul, is my form also eternally inherent, or is it influenced by my association? So, here we have the first point that is being like the object of the biggest debates. Is my soul having one eternal form and constitution, or my soul is achieving that by association? And throughout the book, we are going to explain very specifically on top of this issue specifically. Of course, many other things will come out, but specifically the book has the purpose to solve this conflict. If the soul's eternal nature is already manifested, or if that nature is just one type of a blank page that you can model according to the association. Okay? So another point is brought. If my form is inherent, is it fully manifest at this moment and merely covered over? Or like a seed that has the potency of a fully grown tree within it, is it simply undeveloped? Do I choose what my form and identity will be, or is it given by Guru according to his choice? This is another very major topic of debate. If I choose my form in personal relationship with Krishna, can I change that at any time I choose? Or is that going to be my identity forever? What about the identities of Krishna's eternal associates? They seem to have different moods and sometimes different forms when serving various incarnations. Do their rasas change according to their association? Since the absolute truth regarding the soul's identity is one, why do there seem to be contradictions in the scriptures and among different acharyas and teachers? Why do I sometimes hear that the teachings of the 6 Goswamis differ from the teachings of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and his followers regarding the eternal spiritual form? If they are in fact different, what is the meaning of the often used phrase, unbroken chain of disciplic succession? Where can I find the answers? So, this book is going to explain all these questions. And I am sure that if you keep up with us throughout the study of this book, you are going to find the proper answers for all these questions. And I'm pretty sure that the work of this book, which is being done through this book, was blessed by our Guru Varga. And if you follow up this study, you are also going to be blessed with complete awareness of your own soul's identity and eternal relationship with Krishna. Okay? So just to finalize this part, Svarupa of the Jiva is a response to such inquiries. To our knowledge, the information and resources elucidating the angle of vision of Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj and Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, as well as that of their contemporaries in the line of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, has not yet been compiled in a single publication. So this is also another remarkable fact, that this book is compiling and joining a lot of information that was never compiled before. So this book is a mark in history of Vaishnava literature. This compilation is a humble attempt to fulfill that purpose. It is a documentation of the verses, commentaries, and excerpts of the books, lectures, and discussions of our disciplic succession of self-realized gurus, as well as the words of the ancient Vedic literatures that form the basis of their teachings, regarding the Svarupa of the Jiva being inherent in his constitution. So how will a person benefit by reading this publication? For those students of truth who truly desire to understand the great mystery of the soul, which is beyond the material body, mind, intelligence, and ego, the conceptions revealed in this book will be the cause of excitement and increasing wonder. I guarantee to you that also. I worked in this book. I helped Shamaran Didi in research for this book. And as I was also researching, I was also learning a lot. And I was able to expand much more my understanding of this subject in such a way that I think it would not happen without the initiative of making such a book. Sometimes when we are provoked and we have to come out of our comfort zone, it makes us grow more. It makes us expand our angle of vision and make sure that we will find the right answer and the right way to understand such and such subjects, right? So it is very exciting to be able now to start this reading for all of you. I know that nowadays it's very difficult to find time to stop and read books. So the audiobook is a very useful form that can facilitate your access to the informations, and for sure it will make a great difference in your devotional life, in your spiritual life. I'm pretty much sure of that. So continue reading from the book here. For those students of truth who truly desire to understand the great mystery of the soul, which is beyond the material body, mind, intelligence, and ego, the conceptions revealed in this book will be the cause of excitement and increasing wonder. It is hoped that by reading the Shastric statements of the Acharyas that are quoted herein, the reader will develop a. Clarity of this Siddhanta, b. An appreciation that our Guru Parampara are in full accord, c. Increased faith in Sri Guru, d. An increased sense that all living beings on the land, sea, and air already have an exquisite spiritual form inherent in their constitution, now in seed-like potential, waiting to manifest. An example of this paradigm in its perfectly realized stage is elucidated by Srila Narayana Goswami Maharaj in his commentary to Bhagavad Gita 5.18. The word Samadarshi means to see that in every material body, Bhagavan's marginal potency, the Tatastha Shakti, has manifested as a Jiva with a specific eternal form and nature. Only they who perceive the self in this way are known as Samadarshis. Okay, so now we have a 10-point summary of the book that will help you to understand what is going to be discussed more specifically along the book. 1. The eternal spiritual body, Svarupa or Siddhadeha, of the living entity, Jiva, is inherent in his constitution. In other words, it is his constitutional form. 2. A unique relationship, or rasa, with Sri Krishna. In other words, a particular spiritual name, mood, form, qualities, and devotional activities necessary for divine service to him is intrinsic in each Jiva's Svarupa. It means that all these points are going to be proved, okay? Because of course they are already a statement pointing one specific answer. So we are going to prove all these points. So even though you may disagree with these statements, you will find very interesting how we are going to present the arguments to give the proper understanding and foundation for these statements. Number 3. Because the conditioned soul is influenced by ignorance or illusion, his Svarupa is unknown to him, but the potential for realizing his Svarupa is present within him. 4. While the mercy of Sri Guru and the association of self-realized saints enable the eternal Svarupa of the Jiva to manifest, they cannot change the Svarupa, as it is eternally fixed. This is the major polemic point. Number 5. Svarupa Shakti is present within the heart of the pure devotees and in everything connected to them. Their harikatha, their glance, their order, etc. Thus, by the association of such pure devotees, bhakti gradually unfolds. By sadhana bhakti and the mercy of Hari, Guru and Vaishnavas, Shri Krishna's intrinsic spiritual potency, Swarup Shakti, situated within the hearts of his eternal associates, descends upon the Jiva's heart at the stage of Bhava Bhakti and makes him fully realize his Swarupa. is another very important point to learn. Number 6. The rasas of all the Lord's eternal associates are eternal. They never change. Some associates have various moods and even various forms, but these moods and forms are also eternal. For the Lord's pleasure in their human-like pastimes, such associates may sometime appear to the desire an additional ras or form and then attain that, but these are just pastimes. Number 7. There are two time factors. One is eternal time, which is ever present and ever fresh. And second, the material time, consisting of past, present, and future. From the perspective of eternal time, the acharyas see the perfected nature of the Jiva, inclusive of his service, mood, form, etc. From the perspective of material time, they see that bhakti begins when one connects with a pure guru. The teachings of each acharya includes both perspectives. Number 8. Pure Vaishnavas are always fully aware of both time factors, the realm of eternal time and that of relative time. When they teach that the Jiva already has a beautiful spiritual form, they are speaking from the eternal platform. As an expert gardener can look at the seed of any tree, explain the features of the tree dormant within it, and care for it so that the tree manifests. So the self-realized Vaishnava sees the Svarupa, the eternal form and identity, unique to each Jiva, and assists in completely manifesting that Svarupa. Number 9. There is no contradiction between the teachings of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and the pure Vaishnavas in his line, and the teachings of the 6 Goswamis. Our entire Guru Parampara, from the recent Gauriya Vaishnava Acharyas up to Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, present the same message. Although that message is sometimes expressed differently according to the perspective of eternal time and the perspective of material time, there is no actual contradiction. Moreover, although the message is sometimes spoken differently according to time, place, and circumstance, as per the level of the listener's advancement, there is no contradiction. Number 10. As there are different angles of vision regarding this Siddhanta, all apparent contradictions can be reconciled by the association of pure Vaishnavas. So now we have to, in order to understand properly the book, okay, and the terms which are being used here, we have to define these terms, okay, at first. So we are making sure that we are understanding the same thing. So when we say Jiva, when we say Svarupa, when we say any other term, we have to be able to be at the same page, okay, on the same page. So in this way, here we are going to define some special terms, and in order to facilitate our communication. That's very common in philosophy. I've studied philosophy in university, and one of the main issues in the academic debates of philosophy is the definition of the terms. Some philosophers use one term with a different meaning, and that creates the major problems of understanding. So if we want to really study deeply and with honesty, we have to give time to first understand clearly and make sure that we are in the same understanding of all the words and all the terms which are going to be used. Even though you may disagree with some definitions, at least you know what we are meaning when we use some specific words. Okay, here is not the point of agreeing or not agreeing, but it's just the point of understanding, and then you can put that into context in your own understanding, if it's the case to be different from ours. So a great deal of the challenge surrounding any discussion of this tattva is the want of clarity regarding the use of certain English words to convey a concept, as well as the multiple definitions of Sanskrit words. Herein is a list of commonly used Sanskrit and English words in relation to this topic. Along with their definitions, each of these words have several meanings according to context. Although it is sometimes difficult to find exact English equivalents to Sanskrit words and concepts, our acharyas in the line of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur performed the amazing task of manifesting understandable English words and expressions. We have to consider, first of all, that they are the best scholars, and they have mastered even English language more than many English scholars. For instance, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they used to write in English in such a way that even English people, they find difficulty in reading those texts. So they are not actually trying to adventure themselves in this realm. They are fully qualified to speak what they are speaking. Okay? So the first word we are going to explain is the word Jiva. Jiva refers to the infinitesimal, eternal spirit soul, part and parcel of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, and a manifestation of his marginal potency, Tatashta Shakti. As marginal potency, the Jiva exists in two states, liberated and conditioned. Our acharyas also describe the Jiva's ontological position, his spiritual nature and composition separate from either of the two states, separate from the influence of both Svarupa Shakti and Maya Shakti. For example, as marginal potency, the Jiva is pure, untouched by matter, eternal, has an unchanging spiritual nature, is composed of knowledge and bliss, and so on. This does not indicate a third state of the Jiva's existence. As mentioned above, the Jiva has two states, liberated or conditioned, by his identification with Maya, from material time without beginning. Okay, so this is a brief understanding what is the word Jiva is. Svarupa. The word Svarupa has been used differently. We have the first definition is to indicate either the constitutional name, form, etc. of the Jiva, or to indicate the spiritual nature of the Jiva as beyond and superior to the world of matter, but not yet imbued with Svarupa Shakti. So, just to clarify the difference between both. The first one, it's indicating the constitutional name, form, etc. of the Jiva. It means it's already revealing its nature in full, okay, in a complete form, giving all the informations necessary to define the individuality of that soul. It means the Svarupa, okay? But in the second option of definition, indicates the spiritual nature of the Jiva as beyond the material world, but not yet imbued with Svarupa Shakti, which means not yet with its characteristics and features manifested. Regarding the first meaning, Svarupa is the Jiva's eternal, transcendental, constitutional form. In that perfect stage, the Jiva is established in one of the 5 rasas, or eternal relationships of loving service to Shri Krishna. The individual Jiva Svarupa has a specific name, age, mood, service, dress, residence, and so on. This is the Jiva's Siddhadeha, or spiritual body, or perfected body, which is his original nature. Here perhaps you can remember the pastimes of Gopeshwar Mahadev. When Shiva, he got that body of a gopi girl, and he came to the arena of Rasalila, where Krishna was playing Ras with the gopis. And the gopis caught him and began to ask him, what is your name? What is your village name? What is your father-in-law's name? What is your husband's names? And Shiva, he couldn't answer any of these questions. Why? Because he just got a external form of a gopi, which means that his intrinsic nature as Shiva was still there. He did not achieve the eternal and transcendental Svarupa of a gopi. Therefore, he did not have all these informations. So, the Svarupa, as per this definition, it has all these informations. Okay? The relationship with Krishna, it must be indicated by so many types of bindings with Krishna. It's not only that, I serve in Sakyaras. Okay, but when you go to that context, in that environment, you have so many other small relationships around. We should never forget that in Vrindavan, it is like a big family. This is like a human-like society relationship. So all these informations, they must be given in order to establish that you have achieved your Swarup. The same questions that the gopis put to Shiva, we can also put to the Sahajiyas. When the Sahajiyas are declaring themselves to be situated in their Swarupa, and now they are such and such gopis, such and such manjaris, and they perform this and that service because their gurus told them. The gurus told, your name is such, and your seva is such. And they start acting based on that information they got from guru, but from within, there was no transformation enough to really access that transcendental reality. So you can also ask them, what is your age? What is your mood? What is your service? What is your dress? What is your where is your residence? What is the name of your parents? What is the name of your husband? And so many other informations. What is the town where you live? Where is the village where you come from? Where did you born? Where did you marry? Okay, so all these questions must be answered in order to prove that, okay, the Swarupa has been achieved. The Swarupa is now manifested. Okay, it cannot be partially. You cannot just have partial Swarup manifested. Once it is manifested, it will reveal all its features. Okay? So, then continue reading from the book. In the Srimad Bhagavatam purport 1.9.39, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada introduces his readers to the meaning of Swarupa. Quote, a spiritual form like the Lord's, either two-handed or four-handed, is attained by the devotees of the Lord either in the Vaikunthas or in Goloka, according to the original nature of the soul. This form, which is 10% spiritual, is the Svarupa of the living being. So you note that it's interesting that Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, he says that it will be attained according to the original nature of the soul. So here there is a sense of dependence. It's not saying that the soul will achieve whatever results of their association will be given. No, it's saying that according to the original nature of the soul, it goes to some particular place. So in the later purport, 1.10.28, Srila Prabhupada further explains, attainment of this stage of pure spiritual life is the highest perfection, and this stage is called Svarupa, or the factual identity of the living being. Liberation means renovation of this stage of Svarupa. In that perfect stage of Svarupa, the living being is established in 5 phases of following service, one of which is the stage of Madhurya Ras, or the humor of conjugal love. Although their relationship with Krishna is eternal, without beginning or end, the jivas of this world have never experienced that relationship. Svarupa is inherent in the constitution of the jiva. It is not inherent in the tatastha jiva, who has a tendency to turn away from Krishna and look towards Maya for happiness. That's a very important point. So there are 2 stages of the jiva. Just to make sure you got this point. One is the jiva's eternal identity, which is unmanifested, in dormant form like a seed. And the other stage is the tatastha jiva, when the jiva is in tatastha shakti, coming into the material world, having its original form covered and becoming bewildered by Maya. So these 2 stages of jiva are there. However, the potential for the descent of the Swarup Shakti and subsequent revelation of the jiva's Nitya Swarupa or eternal Swarupa exists in his very nature. Whereas the jivas can be covered by Maya, his Swarup, which is imbued with Shri Krishna's intrinsic Swarupa Shakti, can never be covered. This has been discussed by Srila Narayana Goswami Maharaj in Salt Spring Island, Canada, April 23rd, 2001. Quote, we all have a relationship with Krishna within these 5 categories in our transcendental constitutional form. Without this relationship, no one can even exist. We must be among these 5 relationships, but now we are covered by Maya. We have all the qualities required for this relationship in a latent and dormant position, and therefore, when we begin sadhana under the guidance of a very qualified guru, it will manifest. Whatever relationship you have will certainly manifest. So, the constitution of the jiva is that he is Krishnera Nityadas. Nityadas refers to the jiva's perfection of life. As stated above, it refers to his rasa, or eternal relationship with Krishna. Srila Prabhupada explains, but when we are actually on the platform, there is nothing but Krishna consciousness. That is the perfection of life. That is our actual liberated stage. Jivira Swarupa Hoy Nitya Krishna Das. That is our Swarupa. Swarupa means actual constitutional position, and Mukti, liberation, means to come to that real position. That is the quote from Vrindavan, October 31st, 1976. In Srila Prabhupada's Quest for Enlightenment, quoted in chapter 3 of this book, he states, the spirit soul is now within this material body, but originally the spirit soul had no material body. The spiritual body of the spirit soul is eternally existing. The material body is simply a coating of the spiritual body. The material body is cut like a suit according to the spiritual body. The material elements, earth, water, air, fire, etc., become like clay when mixed together, and they coat the spiritual body. It is because the spiritual body has a shape that the material body also has a shape. See how interesting Srila Prabhupada is saying. Srila Prabhupada is saying that the form that we have like human beings, it's coming because of our soul's form. Srila Prabhupada does not mean that the Jiva Svarupa literally has a form similar to that of the material body, nor that the body is cut like a suit. After all, the soul has been transmigrating throughout 8,400,000 species of life since beginningless time, whereas the soul's Svarupa is eternally the same, although ever fresh and new. In his simple provisional or placeholder analogy, Srila Prabhupada is trying to help his audience to gradually understand that they are not their bodies, that they are eternal spirit souls, and that the body has an individual form and movement only because of the soul's presence. Previous to hearing from him, those in his audience were compelled to think of themselves and others only as stated in the Christian Bible. Dust thou art, and unto dust shall thou return. So, our acharyas often use the phrases in his constitutional position, in the constitutional of the spirit soul, and the soul's constitutional form. In this connection, constitutional or constitution refers to the eternal reality of the souls as a pure servants of Krishna, fully free from all other desires than to serve him. It is the perfected soul's composition or makeup. Srila Prabhupada explains the meaning of constitutional in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.3 purport. These Shruti mantras indicate that every living being has its constitutional position, which is endowed with a particular type of rasa to be exchanged with the personality of Godhead. In the liberated condition only, this primary rasa is experienced in full. In Jiva Dharma, when Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions the souls having fallen from his constitutional position, his statement is provisional. In other words, it does not mean that the soul was perfect, then fell from the perfected stage, and then will again become perfect. No. He means what he was stated in the many other places in his books, that the conditioned soul is now unaware of his constitutional position. And the soul's constitutional form is realized by the mercy of Swarup Shakti, beginning in the stage of Bhava Bhakti and becoming complete in Prema Bhakti. That is the perfection from which there is no falling down. In Jiva Dharma, chapter 15, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur personally explains the presence of such provisional statements. All Vaishnavas say that the Jiva is an eternal servant of Krishna, that his eternal nature is to serve Krishna, and that he is now bound by Maya, because he has forgotten that eternal nature. However, everyone knows that the Jiva is an eternal entity, of which there are two types: Nitya Mukta, eternally perfect soul, liberated from Maya, and Nitya Bhada, the conditioned soul, who has never experienced Krishna. The subject has been explained in this way only because the conditioned human intellect being controlled by pramada, or tendency to be illusioned, is unable to comprehend a subject matter. So, I'm just going to read one more quote from my Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyana Keshava Goswami Maharaj, and then we are going to stop the reading for this first lecture, and then continue tomorrow again. So, Srila Bhakti Pragyana Keshava Goswami Maharaj explains the gradual manifestations of the constitutional form as follows. The Jiva's constitutional name, form, bodily limbs, and nature are present in an unmanifest form within him. When the essence of Ladini and Samvit arises in the heart of the Jiva by the association of a bona fide Guru and Vaishnavas, then the Jiva's constitutional form, whatever it may be, gradually begins to manifest. This quote is from the book Acharya Keshari, His Life and Teachings, Part 4. This is Param Gurudev's biography, written by my beloved Srila Gurudev, Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj. Okay, so we're going to stop here. It was a very great beginning. A lot of information's already been given, and I'm pretty much sure you are going to find very, very interesting from this point on. Okay, so a very auspicious day to everyone. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarvyascha kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.